You're watching Making Life Brighter, and my name's Winifred Adams. In this edition of our Making Life Brighter video series, we have Guy Webster in part 2 of a very special series. Guy has a new book out called Big Shots, and the interview was on the radio show, and the archives you can find at makinglifebrighter.com in the radio tab. But you can also take a look at some of the fun outtakes we have here, as well as the first part in a several-part series sitting down with Guy in his Venice Beach studio, where he shares some of his amazing stories with the Rolling Stones, Bob Dylan, The Doors, Hendrix, the movie stars he shot. He's just a remarkable individual with a body of work that is unlike anyone. So we're going to sit down today and have a word with Guy and listen to what he has to share with us regarding his new book, Big Shots. And we're back. This is Making Life Brighter, and this is Winifred Adams. Today I'm here with Guy Webster, iconic photographer, who has just released the amazing book, Big Shots. And you can find it on Amazon.com, and if you don't have this book, you must have this book. This is the perfect Christmas gift this year and every year thereafter, because this book will last the test of time. Guy has shot some of the greats and all the pictures that you know of and that you can identify without even thinking he's done it. So we're talking with Guy today, and we want to talk a little bit about the great artists that you've worked with, like the Rolling Stones, and when you first met the Rolling Stones and how you got to shoot them exactly, and you know, you have pictures of that in the book itself and how they were to work with.
Yeah, well, they were great. And first of all, what we were talking about before, I was comfortable shooting portraits and people, and the reason I think I was is that I never looked down on people or felt insecure for myself. I felt equal to everybody that I worked with, and they felt that. So they were comfortable with me, and I knew exactly what we were going to do. It wasn't like, oh, what should I do? Oh, you stand there. There's none of that. It was, I was in charge, and they liked that, and they felt comfortable with that.
I'm sure they did, really, because you do have a gentle but very directive nature.
I am a director. There's no doubt about it, and I was completely self-confident. I don't know that I was correct to be so self-confident at that time, because I was just getting started in the business, but I just loved it and loved them. And first of all, the Stones were a blues band, and I'm a blues aficionado. I've been listening to blues since I was about 9 years old. I had blues in my house as a child, people like Big Joe Turner singing. But
you had the live blues in your house.
Yeah, the real blues. But I had a crystal set that I used to listen to. It was the only present my father ever gave to me when I was 9 years old, was a crystal set. And I built it. It was a hobby thing. Put the aerial on the roof and earphones and listened to Dolphins of Hollywood. If you're an LA person my age, you know Dolphins of Hollywood. It was the black race station. That's what they were called in those days, the race stations. And I listened to the blues every night. And I was completely in love with it. And so when the Stones came along, separate from the Beatles, it's not that I didn't dislike the Beatles, but they were bland and pablum to me in the beginning. Later they became great artists, but in the beginning they were just, I want to hold your hand, I mean, bubblegum music. So the Stones were singing real blues. They were getting it from the great black artists, and America didn't discover the blues until the English brought the attention to the blues for the first time. So, when I was told that I was going to be shooting the Stones, I was very excited because I loved everything they were doing, and Brian Jones was the leader of the band, and he had the blues band. It was the Rolling Stones. They did nothing but the blues. And I'm going, oh my God, this is perfect for me. And so Brian and I really connected. I connected with Mick too, but Brian and I had a musical connection. And the fact that I come from a musical background, even though that was not part of my life anymore, since I was pushed out of the house in a way, they felt that I knew a lot about music, which I did. So we were comfortable talking about it. That helped in our shooting. The other thing I learned was very early on, psychologically, a group, when they're all together, are powerful and dangerous and can push you around. But if you separate them, and take a picture of one by himself and then another by himself, they're vulnerable, and you can be malleable with them and make something good happen. So that's what I learned quickly in this world that I was
It's brilliant.
in. And I did that with the Stones. And after that, we did the group shots. And they had already had that connection with me. And I used to call myself Painless Potter. Now that's a reference to Bob Hope in a movie where he was a dentist, Painless Potter. And I said, look, I'm the photographer, Painless Guy, because I'm not going to work a whole roll on one of you. I'll do 3 or 4 shots and I'll move on because I know what I want.
Can you imagine? Like today, that would never happen. It would be a,
Well,
you know,
yeah, but see, they don't
125.
want, no, but they don't want that time.
right.
They're on a time schedule. These guys, all they care about getting in the recording studio.
Mm-hmm.
So they invited me into the studio with them later on, which was so much fun. And we hung out and had a great time, and a couple of shootings. And the one thing that was interesting that I want to end this little segment with about the Stones, I go to pick them up at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. And we're going to go out for the day in a limousine. So they've got the limousine and the driver and the whole thing. So we jump in there, my camera equipment. I don't, in those days, take anybody with me. It's just me and the group I'm working with. Later on, I had to because I was doing so many shootings a week. I had to have help. But in those days, so we get into the limousine, and all these girls are outside, and they jam the car so their faces are in every window, and it turns out all the lights inside the car. It's pitch black because of these screaming girls who don't allow any light to come in. And I'm going, oh my God, this is what it was like with Frank Sinatra, whom I knew quite well, by the way, Frank Sinatra. When he was a young man, he had that same adoration. And now I knew what he was talking about. It was frightening.
I was say that'd be scary.
Yeah, well, the women made me really distrust women for a while, because if their hormones could make them that crazy at 14 and 15, I realized that I'm in trouble here. You know? Anyway, so that was it. Then we went off on that tour with the limousine, had a great shooting, and we're still using those pictures now. Tashin has the pictures in their new book that's coming out.
You have a big portrait of Mick Jagger right behind you on the wall here, and that's about to go on display. And you have many pictures within the book itself, big shots. What did you feel when you shot that picture with Mick? Do you remember that shoot?
Well, yeah, I was old school in the sense that everybody with a 35 millimeter camera can shoot pictures. You know, they may not compose it correctly or get the right light, but they can get a shot. So I said, oh, I'm going to do that on a 4x5 camera.
Right.
Do something different.
Yeah.
And so that's why I can blow it up to a wall size, because I did that. And it gives it a different look. There's more detail.
Yeah.
And I shot them 35 too, but that was what I did with a lot of the guys. And I shot a lot of them on 2 1/4 Hasselblads, because that allowed you to blow them up. Yeah, and it gives you great quality. So I learned that lesson quickly, a lot of lessons quickly.
Do you use the Hasselblads today in the digital?
No, I don't use the Hasselblad because my 5D Canon is so good for what I'm doing right now. I will get one probably, or when they come down in price. They're $35,000 with the right lens and all of that. And so.
But it's kind of cheating, isn't it? I mean, you use the real thing in the way it was meant to be used, right, from the get-go, right? And look at what came out of that.
There's nothing cheating though. Here, let me put it this way. Photography, it's all fair game.
Okay.
Shoot with film if you want to. Shoot digitally. It's all art. It's how you apply it. I get just as much fun shooting digital as I do film. Think about it. I went off on a shooting the other day, shot 10 shots. I had the picture that I wanted, and I quit.
You're so rare.
Yeah.
This is so rare.
Well, I don't want to waste my time. Because, look at Winifred, if I have my free time, I ride motorcycles. Do you know that about me?
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
yes.
That's what I do. Everything else is an excuse to make money to buy motorcycles.
You're an example of how to live life. That's what your whole life is about.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you know, it's funny because people think the rock stars that you shot, amen to that, and the movie stars that you shot have the life, but frankly, I think you've had the life.
It's a much better life. I'm close with a lot of movie stars. My whole life I've been close to a lot of them. They've got their fans to deal with. I have no fans. I love it. I'm anonymous.
You're a free agent in the world, really.
When I really became famous, I was a rock photographer. I could get a seat in any restaurant. They knew me in LA because I'd come in with famous people or something like that. Hey, Guy, I got a great seat for you.
Yeah.
So I got that. I was a little bit of celebrity, but not much. And my closest friend in the world is Ted Danson.
Yes.
And we're like brothers. And I travel with him a lot. Our two families live together. And I watch what goes on with him. The adoration from fans. Ted, they call across the street, can we get a picture? And he's so sweet and loving, he allows it. And I see how he has to live, always looking over your shoulder at some crazy who could cause you some harm, too.
Right, and someone you think is approaching you that might be kind, and in fact they're not. I think a lot of people that don't live in LA don't realize that there are so many people that really push the boundary. And, you know, we make commentary about the people we see on TV, but you don't realize the danger when you're in it. And there really is real danger.
Well, we all live in Martha's Vineyard a lot during the year, and there the people leave you alone.
Right.
And Ted can walk down the street and they'll yell, "Hey Ted," like that, and that's about it. And his wife is Mary Steenburgen, an Academy Award-winning actress who is one of my best friends, and she doesn't get it as much because she's not TV. The TV people have so much TVQ.
Right.
They get it more than the movie stars. I mean, I've been with Jack walking, nobody even knows who he is. I mean, he knows how to walk.
Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jack Nicholson, yeah.
Jack is the cover of your book. And tell us quickly how you came to
Choosing that one?
This is, primarily, seemingly, a book that has an awful lot of musical, iconic photography in it. Why Jack on the cover?
Well, he's not been on a cover.
Ah.
And he's the sexiest man, or was particularly, in the world. And when women see that picture on the cover, they go, "Oh my God, he's so gorgeous," you know? And so...
It's an instant picture to look at. You turn and you look at it and
then I've got Mick on the back side of the book. So, you know. And they can find some of these iconic rock and roll pictures inside. And what I tried to do, I'll just tell you real quick, is I put in a lot of unseen photographs.
Yeah.
That nobody's seen before.
Thank you, by the way.
Yeah, I wanted to do that for people. And because this is an example with Jim
Morrison.
Yeah, Jim Morrison. That shirt offended me because I remember they were $3 on the Venice boardwalk. That same shirt, that's where he got it, you know. And it wasn't really a hippie shirt. It was, you buy it off a rack on the Venice boardwalk. I said, take the shirt off and let's do some shots with your body naked from the waist up. And that's where we got the album cover.
Awesome.
And then in this book is my first choice for the album cover. And I lived with it, the two different pictures, the blue one, the multiple thing. And I'm going, nope, I'm going with the one I designed. And that was the iconic one. And the guys got angry with me. The other guys.
Was it your choice? Really?
Everything was my choice.
Really?
Oh no, I had.
They didn't have a say in it.
Listen, I had so much power. I could design it, everything, the cover. And I gave them the cover. The companies, and they go, great, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I had it all.
You did.
Yeah.
That's untold today. You can't do that today.
No, managers got to see the picture.
We'll be right back. We'll be right back with more Guy Webster and his amazing book, Big Shots. Stay tuned, and we're going to hear more about Bob Dylan and the rest of his amazing life as we know it. You're watching and listening to Making Life Brighter. My name is Winifred Adams, and that was part 2 with Guy Webster, iconic photographer, sharing his new book, Big Shots. Stay tuned for part 3, which encompasses the rest of the radio interview and some really neat outtakes that we have as well. Thank you for listening, and we'll be talking to Guy yet again into the new year with more stories and more exciting interviews. Thank you for watching. MakingLifeBrighter.com. Go Jolly.
I knew them all. I had this weird childhood. I knew everybody. And my father, do you know any Yiddish? Do you know the words, Yiddish words?
Yeah, a few, yeah.
He was a miskite, uncomfortable within his skin. And he used me as a child to be his go-between between people. So I was at the studio all the time, helping him be comfortable.